Good morning from Hometown Cable. It's What's Going On Here. I'm Bob Venn, we're in one of the more popular places, well known in northern New York, northern Vermont. We're at Isle Lamont, at the Shrine, and we're here to talk and have an interview with the Reverend Maurice Boucher.
Maurice Boucher, that's right.
All right. And Father Boucher is very well known to our people in northern New York who are watching this program. You've been here a long time, Father.
Well, I've been here 33 years, actually, in two different spaces. Once, the first time was 8 years, and then I've been here 25 years the second time around.
You're going to get to like it here if you stay like this, right?
I liked it from the first day I arrived, actually.
I'm sure you have.
It was a great challenge, when I was sent here in 1956, and the Bishop of Burlington, Bishop Ryan, asked our superior to develop the shrine. He thought that it was a very undeveloped place that had great possibilities, and so I was sent here.
Right. What order are you with, Father?
I belong to the Society of St. Edmund.
All right. Are there any offshoots? Maybe I don't want to say offshoots. Any of your order over in northern New York at all?
No, we're not northern. We used to have some priests who were formerly Edmondites who worked there, but we don't have any more Edmondites in northern New York.
You're called Edmondite?
Edmondites.
Edmondites. Yeah. So are you missionaries?
Actually, we are a teaching missionary order. We have a number of men in the southern missions in Alabama, North Carolina, Louisiana, working among the blacks.
Okay. I'm sure that people would like to know where you're from and your background. Where are you from?
That's very interesting. Actually, I'm from originally Highgate Center.
You're kidding.
Yes.
I'm from up here?
That's right, yes. And my folks immigrated when I was only 2 months old, and they carried me across in a little basket. And my mother used to take me down to do chores with my dad, put me in front of the cows and keep me warm.
When you say across, you don't mean across the lake. I bet you mean across the border.
Across the border.
So you were born in Quebec?
I was born in Canada, yeah, right next to Farnham, Quebec.
All right. And you were raised on a farm?
I was raised on a farm and went to high school in Swanton, Vermont, and then to St. Michael's College. And it was while I was a student at St. Michael's that I decided to become a priest and join the Society of St. Edmund, also known as Edmondites.
Okay. So for anybody out there who lives on a farm, you know that he knew work from an early age. There wasn't you didn't ever worry about what to do, did you?
No, it was interesting, when we were only 7 or 8 years old, my mother used to ask us to help her to milk cows. We would get on one side of the cow, and she would get on the other side. And we learned how to milk cows and, of course, do chores. And I always remember the time I went to feed the horses, and I didn't feed them properly. I was only about 9 years old. So my good father took me back and he said, now we're going to do it right because you're a man now, and you've got to, whatever I assign you to do, you must do it right. And I never forgot that.
And how old were you?
9 years old.
He was a man then.
Yeah.
How many in your family, Father?
11 children, yeah. 3 girls and 8 boys. And we're all living but one. One died a few years ago, the second oldest, but we're all living. Of course, we're spread out all over the United States. There are 2 in Montreal, 1 in Philadelphia, 1 in Washington, D.C., and the others are living in this area pretty much.
I was going to say, the one that you think would be the furthest away would one who joined an order that would go somewhere, and you're right here in your backyard.
That's right, yeah. And I've always appreciated the fact that I could be here and close to my family. Before my mother and father passed away, I used to visit them every Sunday night.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, I used to. For 15 years, I never missed, and they were very grateful.
Yeah, that's a French tradition, too, in getting together, right? Very much so.
Oh, very much, yes. Family meetings and family dinners and Christmas, Easter, birthdays. It's a great gathering.
When you talk about farms, to us, we both are familiar. We're both raised on a farm, so we know about farms. And I don't think I was a man at 9, but I was doing my share of work at 9 and 10 years old.
It's very interesting, all that I learned from my dad about fences, about ditches, about foundations, about ceilings and roofs, pathways. All that I learned on the farm comes in very, very handy. Everything that you learn in life comes in handy at sometimes, and painting, for instance, the different color schemes, landscaping, I learned that on the farm.
That's great. I'm sure your father, looking down from you here, is glad to hear you say
Well,
this.
you know, it was interesting. 2 weeks before he passed away, he was here, and he gave me some sound advice. He said, whatever you do, don't go into debt.
Oh.
And now we're about to build. We're about to build, and we're trying to make sure that we have sufficient funds, at least to get the building on the way and to furnish it partly, you see. So I remember that. My mother was a great personnel person, and so whenever I need help with personnel, I pray to her. And whenever I need financial help, I pray to my father.
All right. There's a reason why this shrine is at this location, I imagine, rather than in Burlington or in Highgate. What's the history of Isle Lamont?
Actually, the French came down Lake Champlain, and they had built a series of forts on the Canadian side. And so when they arrived here, they thought they were on Canadian soil, and they were in the United States. And they built this fort. Pierre de la Motte built it in 1666 as a fortification against the Indians, and it only lasted about 3 years. Then it was destroyed. The fort people couldn't make a go of it here, so they went back to Montreal and eventually back to France. Those who survived, and so it was built under the protection called Fort Sainte Anne, under the direction of Pierre de la Motte, who came from France in 1666. And not much was done with the shrine, with the fort, until 1892, when a French priest, Father Curlidu, was sent here by the bishop, and the bishop asked him to do some digging and to reorganize it as a shrine. And we, in the Society of St. Edmund, took it over in the late 1800s, probably 1899 or 1900, and we've been here ever since.
You know, we were talking about saints many times. We just throw these names out, and we really don't know who they are. We should know who St. Anne is. Let's tell us about who St. Anne it was.
Very interesting, you know. Little children come here, and they're not quite sure who St. Anne was. She was the mother of Mary, the grandmother of Jesus.
There you go. That's a very important person. Sometimes more important than your mother many times.
Well, you know what? The grandmothers, of course, are really interested in their grandchildren. And in fact, my mother used to say, I have more time for my grandchildren than I did for my children. And so we are really the grandchildren of St. Anne, since she's the grandmother of Jesus.
Right. Okay, so, and it's been since back in the 1692, dedicated to St. Anne.
1666. It was dedicated to St. Anne.
It was then, okay.
That's right, yeah. Right. And then when the devotion to St. Anne was renewed here, as soon as whenever this Father Curlidu took over, in 1892, and then of course we've been spreading devotion. But it wasn't until in 1914, there were big boats come across Lake Champlain. There was a big dock here, and the people used to come by boat on pilgrimage. But the First World War caused the boats to cease functioning, and so it wasn't until 1956 then that pilgrimages were restored.
I can't believe there are very many people out there who don't know where Isle Lamont is and the shrine, but just in case some of you are watching this who are outside of our area, and it is for history as well as for watching today, we're directly across from Chazy Landing, is just over across the water right there, just across the parking lot or the picnic area. That's Chazy Landing, and we're on an island called Grand Isle.
That's right.
Is that
It's
right?
called the Grand Isle. It's called the Lake Champlain Islands.
All right.
And we're on Isle Lamont, which is an island, one of the islands of the Lake Champlain Islands.
And we're about, what, 4 or 5 miles south of Alberg?
Yeah, we're about, from the village of Alberg, it's 8 miles, and we're only about 4 miles from Chazy Landing across the lake.
Across the water. And that's where we are. We'll be right back. We're talking with the Reverend Maurice Boucher, and he's back. Pardon?
Boucher.
Oh, I said Bouchard. Boucher. Oh, God, thanks, Calvin. Calvin cast that on the camera, of course, and I want to say Bouchard for some reason this morning. It's Boucher. B-O-U-C-H-E-R. I can spell it. I just can't say it.
Well, that's...
We've just moved up into the altar area here, and we were saying that something you don't usually see in church and not welcome are animals many times, except there's one time of the year they used to have the animals come. It's one of the
Feast of St. Francis.
yes,
To
but
bless them. Bless
exactly. But
the
this
animals.
dog is yours.
That's my dog Tosca, and she belongs to everybody, actually. She's very friendly. It was a Protestant minister who had her, and he wanted to move into the city, couldn't bring her, so I saw her advertised in the paper, and I went and got her one day, chain and food and everything, and she's been here since, and she's very lovely. She's friendly with everybody, and she attends church. Yeah, she's a Christian animal.
I was going to say she's a convert. She's a convert too.
Well, let's say this way: she has more of a chance to pray here than she did. There are more opportunities. She's a very, very nice animal. She follows me everywhere. We've become great friends. She protects me too. She watches over me.
Oh,
she's a basset hound and a collie. And it's quite a combination with her short legs and her lovely face.
Yes, she is. And of course, people love animals, and to come here. And well, let's talk a little bit now. When did you start having masses here?
Masses were held. At one time, this was a summer home for seminarians and priests for the Society of St. Edmund. And there was always one mass here on Sunday morning around 10 o'clock. But when we set it up as a place of pilgrimage, then we began to have evening masses on Saturday evening, and then on Sunday morning, 8:30, 10, 11:15, and a 4 o'clock mass on Sunday afternoon. And the liturgies are very well attended. We have lovely music. We have 5 different musical teams, and 2 folk music groups, children's choir, an adult choir, and a musical team. And the music is just outstanding, and the people like that. It makes the celebrations more lively.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you can see right out here, there is where the congregation sits. Most of them are undercovered. There's a few benches on the side. And obviously, you don't have Christmas Mass here at Lamont.
No, actually, I'm the pastor of the St. Amadeus Church and St. Joseph's Mission, and in the winter we have midnight mass at St. Amadeus, and we have the masses in the little churches, and they're well attended too. People are very faithful to church.
So you are the pastor at Alberg?
Yes, I'm also pastor of Alberg and Alamat, and I'm director of St. Anne's Shrine.
And you live here, or
in the winter I live in Alberg. In the summer I have an apartment here.
I didn't know that. I've been through here. I did not know you were also. I was wondering what you did in the winter.
Yes, I keep myself busy. What we do in the winter is I have a morning mass, and then I come in the midday. I work in the parish in the morning. In the midday, I come here work in the office. We have 4 helpers in the office, 4 people who are engaged year-round, and we have a maintenance and an all-purpose man who helps us too.
Okay, are there any other Edmondites here?
Actually, I have some who come and help me on weekends. I also have a priest who's been with us for 22 years. He comes in from Saint Donat, Quebec. He's a hermit, and he prays during the week, and he comes down on weekends and shares his prayer and his faith with us. He's a wonderful man.
Right.
And also have Father Cote from Coopersville, who comes and helps us. He's
another mission church many years ago.
That's right, yes.
All right. Now, Father, how many are you in the Society of St. Edmund?
We're about 75 now. Yeah.
Only 75?
We used to be about 150, and through deaths and people who have left, and so we're not as numerous as we were. But I think we're numerous enough to be able to continue the service here and the parishes. And at St. Michael's College, we also run the college. And
you do?
Yes, and the missions in the South, in Alabama, and Selma, Alabama, and Louisiana.
Did you originate St. Michael's College?
Yes, yes. Our fathers founded St. Michael's College about 1904. And we've been there ever since.
Very well respected school.
Yeah, it is a good
school.
Very,
very well respected, and it makes that whole area of Winooski, Burlington, a great education center with University of Vermont and the others.
I was a teacher at St. Michael's, and in fact, I left from St. Michael's College to come here as director of the shrine.
All right, well,
and I've always had a side job. The shrine is a second job. I was vocation director. Then I was also chaplain in Montreal in the high schools for 11 years. and now I'm pastor of St. Amadeus and St. Joseph, so the shrine is my second job.
If you could go or do anything in the world you wanted, you probably wouldn't do anything different than what you got right here.
Well, I was very blessed actually to be assigned here, and I love the work, I love the people, and I love to pray with the people, especially the pilgrims who come here, the family groups, the busloads, to animate them and to lead them to God.
Oh.
The shrine is called the center of life, God's life, the center of love, the love of Jesus, and the center of light, the light of the Holy Spirit. And so it is certainly a wonderful opportunity, and our theme is to bring people to God and God to people.
Okay, when you say a pilgrimage, I'm thinking many times, I'm sure people do, of hundreds of people that have to come in order to have a pilgrimage, but it doesn't have to be.
No, it could be a busload, it could be a family, it could be a family group, could be 12 or 15 who come here to spend some time in prayer, usually Mass, perhaps a rosary. We have a beautiful statue of the Blessed Mother, which was brought here 2 years ago. It was on the top of the cathedral in Burlington. The cathedral burnt, and it was stored for 20 years. And then the bishop gave us permission to bring her here.
Oh, how nice.
And so we are now, this is one of the places where they go on the grounds here. Of course, we have the different grottos. We have the Way of the Cross.
Right, we'll take a tour later on if someone's going to come around with us.
Yes,
You
yes.
back to your busy schedule. But we're looking here at the altar and the whole area. What do we see here, and when was this built, Father?
This was built around 1900.
All right, you'll notice the wainscoting, the old wainscoting, the tremendous, beautiful wainscoting.
Imagine each little board hammered. I think our masons today wouldn't have the carpenters probably wouldn't have the patience to do that.
No, today they have a piece of 4x8 paneling that's made to look like this.
That's right.
That is beautiful. And it's very well kept, and it was all varnished, too. Now, you have, what, sliding doors?
This is a folding door.
That
It comes down and protects us against bad weather.
Uh-huh.
We're a little bit more open. This is why we want a new building, actually, so that when it's stormy, we can hide. We can run and hide. We've been thinking about this new building for a few years, so hopefully by next year we'll have it. See, if it's stormy, if it's cold, if it's wet, we want a place where we can run and worship.
All right. There are two things that you're in the process of raising money for. Number one would be a new building here or in a different location?
No, not here. This will never touch. This will always remain as it is, and especially the open-air church.
Right.
People would be very upset with us if we were to change this in any way. But the new building will be about 400 or 500 feet from here, right in the back, overlooking the grounds. And it will accommodate public bathrooms, it will accommodate cafeteria, it will accommodate a laundry room, but also a place where we can hide.
It'd be a combination. The cafeteria will be in the same building. You had an unfortunate accident here a year ago?
Yeah, that's right. A year ago in September, that's right. Yeah.
Just off to the, that'd be the south. Here you had your cafeteria.
That's right. It burnt, and so now we're trying to replace it, and also in that same building to put other accommodations.
All right. We want to mention here as we look out that I have been here. It's starting to get a little shower now. I have been here when the wind was blowing, it would kind of blow the rain in, and you have side curtains that roll down, as you can probably see, to protect the people. Then we don't care how long Mass lasts after that, because we hope that it continues until the rain stops.
That's right.
Before we go back to our cars.
That's right. And we've been very fortunate this year. We've had a beautiful summer, and we haven't had the problem of weather, but I'm sure that before the season ends, October 15th, we'll have some cold Sundays.
You see how nice he threw that in there without my even asking? He said when the season ends October 15th, that's when it closes, October. You open when, Father?
About May 15th.
There you go. You got about 5 months.
5 months.
5 months of it. Right. All right. When you talk about their pilgrimages, you have some annual pilgrimages that come here.
Yes, we have. Like we have the Knights of Columbus from Vermont, Knights of Columbus from New York, and then we have some other groups that come from different parishes. We have a number of groups from Montreal who come here and spend the day on the pilgrimage. And the Knights of Columbus from New York, that's a lovely pilgrimage. Bishop Crowley has been coming here to lead them in prayer, and it's a lovely day. Now this year, the state officers started their pilgrimage on Saturday. They spent a morning of reflection of prayer from 9:30 to 12:30. All the state officers. It was quite edifying to have them with us.
Father, you're a very soft-spoken person. Did you learn that from your father or your mother?
Probably from my father.
Did you?
My father was soft-spoken, although a bit of both. My mother was a very. She had an iron hand and a silk glove. You know? I learned it from both. I think. Okay. Yes.
There are other people can come here too, but we're going to take a short break. We got some battery problems this morning. We're going to get a change of battery. We're going to get maybe a change of scenery, but we're not going to change this scenery. Bob Venn and Father Maurice Boucher, I said it right that time. We're here at Isle Lamont St. Anne's Shrine. Christ's grandmother.
On TV.
Oh my goodness, no.
You will.
Now you talk about pilgrims and pilgrimages. Look at what we have this morning. They knew that Calvin and I were here. Look at our visitors from Champlain, New York. Mildred Weisberger, former LaFontaine from Champlain, New York. And of course, Father Boucher mentioned earlier, our good friend from Cooperville, and here he is, Father Cody. Good morning, Father.
Good morning.
Yes, so what's this pilgrimage you are here with this morning, Millie?
Well, I don't know. I just wanted to attend Mass.
You wanted to, in the Mass at 11:15, right?
Yes.
Do you attend over here very often?
Sometimes, if Father Cody brings me.
Oh, okay, there. And you like to come over here. Do you say Mass over here very often?
Almost once a week, and sometimes a little bit more.
Okay.
I was his babysitter.
When his father had the American bakery.
Yes.
That's right. He was just across the street from you.
Sure.
Yeah, Millie was raised on the corner of Church and Main Street, where Frank Manette lives right now. Mm-hmm. Correct. And
I was born there.
You were born there, right? Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that house was originally sold in 1836. So it's one of the older homes in Champlain.
Yes, it is.
All right. And one of the oldest persons in Champlain lived there. My uncle, Frank Manette.
Yeah, he's going to be.
Don't say. He'll be angry at us.
Oh no.
But he's over 75.
He'd be 84 the 26th.
Somebody else is 84 too. You are. Well, I got to get even. You want me to get even with you, all right? All right, Father. There are many people come over every day for Mass. You have a lot of people at 11.
Actually, in the peak of the season, we have anywhere from 50 to 100.
At daily Mass?
At daily Mass. Now, today it's a little bit rainy. It may not be as
many. It is raining now.
But we are certainly very pleased with daily attendance. We set the time at 11:15 because it is convenient for tourists, and some of the members of our staff sometimes attend. So, but we have Mass every day from the time that we open until we close. And Father Cote graciously accepted to replace me so I could have a day off. If the sun shines, I'll probably be out playing a little golf.
Today?
Today, yes. And then afterwards, I have to go to a funeral home. Father's going to replace me again tomorrow so I can take a funeral in St. Albans. So it's most kind of him to do that, and I'm very grateful. It gives me a chance to see a bit of the world and to have a change of scenery.
He's also saying daily Mass right now over in St. Mary's in Champlain while Reverend Morgan is on vacation up near Watertown, correct? So we see Father quite often. No, we don't have to go to Cooperville to see him, although he says come up and see him once in a while. He comes to Champlain quite often, visits our KFC and other functions at St. Mary's. And Millie, we see you every Sunday in church. I sit right behind you usually.
Yes, right.
Yeah, you don't miss it at all. And you go to daily Mass pretty regularly too?
Not daily, I can't, because I have no way of getting there, and it's too much to walk. Okay. I think both ways.
All right. Well, we're a great surprise. We got different people from Champlain here today. Right behind you, Father Boucher, it says memorial gifts and a lot of names. What's that all about?
Well, people want to help us, so they will offer to leave a gift in memory of a dearly beloved deceased or for some favor granted to them. And we have plaqueboards in the different buildings and also in the different shrine areas. And it's a way of raising funds for the shrine and also of remembering all those people. We include them in our Masses every day, in our prayers. Like last evening, we had a holy hour, and we want to make sure that we include all the friends and relatives and benefactors.
Okay. We would be remiss this morning if we didn't mention at least one Champlainer who was a regular here, at Isle of Mont, and I think was a director, and was married here. You any idea who I'm talking about?
My good friend Larry and Celine Paquette.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Larry is very fondly remembered here. He worked very hard for the shrine, and in fact, I saw him just a day or so before he died, and he took me aside and he said, "You don't have to worry about the shrine. When I get up there, I'll be praying and I'll be watching over it." And a very fine man, very Christian man, and so we have his being, his person is here for sure.
When they had his funeral mass, somebody from Isle of Mont came over and sang.
Yes, I think it was our choral group. Yes,
It was an individual who sang too.
Yes, Maurice Boucher. He's still singing, and I gave the homily, if I remember.
Oh yes, I was there. Yes.
And Celine, his wonderful wife, she's a wonderful person, great friend of the shrine, and I was happy to accept that. It was the last thing I could do for him, and I was glad to do it.
All right, that's just a little bit about our local, and where there's a lot of people from over there that do come over here and feel that this is their second church.
We are very grateful to the clergy of Northern New York for encouraging their people and for supporting us. I would say proportionately we have the greatest number of people from Vermont and from Northern New York. They come in here in large numbers, and they're very dedicated.
Okay.
Wonderful Christians.
And when you people out there who are watching this program come over here and you see this smiling face, tell them you saw him on television in Northern New York, and you appreciate his talking with us. We'll be right back. You're watching Hometown Cable. What's going on here? What's going on this morning is 4 Champlainers and Highgate, Vermont native Reverend Maurice Boucher, one of 11 children. We'll be right back.
This is fine.
Either this is our lucky day or they know we're here and they all want to get on TV. Now, Father, who we got here?
You have Dr. William Tortolano. He's the chairman of the board of directors. The board of directors is an advisory board, and we give them all kinds of responsibilities dealing with the government, with the church, with the state, public relations, whatever is necessary to be done. Dr. Tortolano has been the person who has engineered and worked with the architect and the state and the Society of St. Edmund, the diocese, for our new building. He's been the go-between myself.
Okay.
We also hold his hand. When times are good,
Yeah.
we talk about the good time. When times are bad, then we talk about that. We have to do more than talk about it.
Well, how long have you been on the board?
I've been on the board about 12 years, and chairman, about 3 years, maybe 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
How are you so fortunate to get on a board like this?
Well, I'm unfortunate. I mean, fortunate. I'm fortunate because this is a mission.
That's right.
We have a destiny at this shrine. It's a beautiful place, one of the most beautiful places on Lake Champlain. We also had a disastrous fire last year. We lost the one, not the one important building, because the shrine is more important than that, but the one building that took care of our cafeteria needs and our meetings, our assembly room, and our snack bar, and that went up in flames.
Help raise a little funds, too, to keep the operation going,
yeah.
huh? That's very important.
Even today, and it's August, you see it's windy and a little damp, and this building means that when we have bad weather, people can go indoors and it's comfortable. It also means it's a place for the restrooms and also a place for something to eat.
Right. Well, you have to feed the body as well as the mind and the soul.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, where are you from?
I'm a professor at St. Michael's College.
Well, isn't that all right with those those St. Edmunds for sure? How long
That's
have you
right.
been at St. Michael's?
I've been there 33 years. That's before you were born, right?
No, I was 6 years old when you went there.
Okay.
All right. Where were you from originally?
I was originally from Rhode Island, so I'm a New Englander.
All right. Well, you once a New Englander, always a New Englander.
Absolutely, yeah.
And well, in the case of Father, once Grand Isle or nearby, always. Of course, we know that Highgate's not on Grand Isle.
Franklin
It's in
County.
Franklin, but it's awfully close, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we're working hard. We have a little more to go. We have a goal of $450,000 for groundbreaking. And of course, insurance never covers what your needs are. And we're probably $25,000 now from our goal.
You are that close.
Yeah, if we can get that money in 2-3 weeks, we'll dig a hole.
Well, don't you just tell those people out there why they
We'll
should
tell
become
you.
a...
I hope they
Go
heard
ahead.
that.
Well, tell them more. Why should they Why should they be a donor to this? And
Well, the shrine is not only an important spiritual place for people of any faith, and people even of no faith come here because they realize the beauty of the shrine. But it also is a very important place historically. This is where Champlain came. This is where the first settlement was in Vermont. We have a beautiful sculpture here, which deals, which was made at Expo in '67. It's a historical site. It's a sacred place for Christians and for Indians and for many people. And this building is basically an all-purpose building to serve the daily needs of people that come here. It's nothing fancy.
No,
it's just
well,
something we need.
But it's getting back to nature nearly here when you come up here. You
Absolutely.
feel very peaceful and quiet.
Oh, it's
How
one of those
many on
beautiful
your
places.
board?
We're about 15 plus spouses,
Right.
yes.
How do you replace, like Larry Parker, how do you replace someone like Larry?
We haven't replaced Larry.
Larry
Celine.
can never replace Larry.
Well, although I
Yeah.
knew that was going to come from one of them. I'm
Yeah,
sure I know
yeah.
what you mean, but
But Celine is just wonderful.
Yeah, well-
Celine has really taken his place, and perhaps in a year or so we will evaluate our members, and then we'll see who needs to be replaced and by whom.
Okay.
We picked them from different parts of
Right.
New England and New York and Canada. We have one from Canada, from Toronto, actually.
okay. You're the director here at the
That's it.
shrine.
That's right.
You said we, so that means it's more than you that picked that person.
Well, actually, the board of directors, we get together and we decide who
right.
is going to be on
Okay.
the board. And
All right.
we'll see. Actually, I don't do anything myself, really. People
Well, you
say
do
I
a lot. Yes, you do.
but I like to share and to communicate, and many ideas, the opinions of many people are very important.
And one of the first changes I made in the board of directors was an unwritten law that they would all be Catholics, and we changed that 3 years ago. It's open to any denomination on our board, so it's open to all. And
Now
we have
that's
people-
unusual, is it?
Yeah, of course.
It is unusual that you could, in a, you would say Catholic or Christian at least, center
Well,
here.
The shrine and the grounds are open to everybody.
Yes.
This has been a beautiful place for centuries and centuries, and it's a you can't find a more beautiful place, I don't think.
When he
Yes.
says centuries, remember your father told us earlier, 1666. So it is 3 1/4 centuries,
Right.
really, right here
Yeah.
on the shores of beautiful Lake Champlain,
Right.
on the Vermont side, that we can look at from our New York side all the time.
Well, we've been having a lot of sleepless nights because we've had a lot of work to do here, fundraising, great deal of planning, architectural work, digs to make sure we're not disturbing anything that is of historical
yes.
importance, and so far we have not found anything of that nature. But I think we're just working hard. I hope people recognize that we just have that little more to go, and if we can just do it, we don't want to start late because then we'll have to do it next year. We have to do it in September.
Okay. How big of an area do you have? How many acres?
We have 13 acres.
Right. For you people who know or don't know how big 13 acres is, it's 13 acres, all right?
It's quite a piece of land.
Yes, it is.
And we're
And
going to build right up here. You can see where the little cross is there.
And that's
and the
where-
flags are. That's where the building is going
Right,
to be.
behind the stone wall.
yeah, and when you walk from here up there, you will gain an appetite.
That's
You'll notice
right.
that's a gradual height increase here going on. And there's a parking lot and picnic area behind there also.
The parking lot will be up there, yes.
So if someone could drive up there, they don't have to walk up if they didn't
One
want
of the things that has happened is that the state is very protective of the environment, and we've had to do a great deal of work and planning and discussion with the state. You have to get a permit to get a permit to
That's
get a
right.
permit.
Yes.
You know?
And a fee on top of a fee.
And the fees, of course, too. And of course, that's important because we want to make sure we meet all those fees, you know.
Okay.
Not counting the architectural and engineer fees, just for state fees and environmental fees and licenses, so far we must have spent $7,000 or $8,000 just on fees, and we haven't dug a hole
Yeah.
yet. You know.
Well, thank you very much, Doctor. A pleasure meeting
Fresh,
you.
nice meeting you. Thanks
an
for coming.
unexpected surprise.
Okay, very
and
nice.
Father and I
You're
will move
welcome.
along. We're going to go and meet
Helena.
Helena. And what's her title?
She's coordinator of activities.
Okay, coordinated activities. And we'll see some of those activities after we meet Helena.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Nice talking to you.
Good.
Bye now.
We're going.
Now, we're going to talk to this lady a little bit under duress because she said she wasn't sure she wanted to be on. But your name is?
My name is Mona Halfley.
How do you say the last name?
Halfley.
Halfley. All right. And you people out there might know this young lady because she goes to Northeastern Clinton Central, right?
Yes, I do.
You
I'm a
did
junior
last year?
this
You're
year.
a junior.
Yep.
And you live where?
I live in Isle of Mont here, just up the hill.
Okay, and what do you do here now? You are an employee here?
Yes, I am a secretary, do typing, and I answer phones.
All right, and she was a big smile and was very helpful to us earlier. And guess what I asked her when she said her name was Mona? I heard Father call her Mona. I said, is it really Mona or is it Ramona? And it is?
Ramona.
But my sister and she said, call us Mona, please, right?
Yes.
My brother-in-law calls my sister Moan. He calls her Moan.
Yep, some of my close
Did
friends
you call,
call me that.
call
Yep.
you Moan? Your close friends? We're not quite close enough, so we'll call her Mona this morning. All right, how long have you been doing this?
I've been working here for quite a long time, actually. I started picking up papers on the grounds, as most kids do. I've been working here since I was about 5.
Is that right?
Yep.
You look like you really love it too, right?
Yeah, actually I do.
What are your
It's pretty
future
good.
plans when you leave NCCS?
I'd like to go to college and maybe be an elementary teacher.
Is that going to be at St. Michael's by any chance, you think?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
It don't have to be, of course.
No.
Right, all right. There was a young man in here. Was that your brother? Or?
Yes, it was.
It was your brother.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I saw you smiling at him so greatly. I think it's got to be your brother.
Yeah.
He's a lot of help to you.
Sometimes, not all the time, but
Well, now, why, or not that we don't want you there, but what's a Vermonter doing going to school in New York?
actually I had choices between BFA and MVU, and I just chose that one because my friends from the island were going there, most of them.
So you've been there since you were a freshman?
Since I was in 7th grade.
7th grade,
Yep.
okay.
We moved here from Ontario then.
So you were Canadian? Are you American citizen now?
I have dual citizenship.
You have dual citizenship. Your parents were Americans or Canadian?
My father's American, my mother's Canadian.
You got the best of two worlds.
Yep.
Well, even Father Boucher was born in Canada, but he was born in Quebec, not the lovely Ontario. Quebec is lovely too, by the way. All right. Well, how long will you be working? You got another couple of weeks. You'll be going to school.
Yeah, and then I'll be working until the closing on weekends.
You will.
Mhm.
That's terrific. So finally, they're paying you a little bit now after all these years of
Yep.
donating some time.
Yep.
You're
Yep,
saving
making
all
sure.
this money to go to college, Mona.
And to buy a car.
Gonna buy a car. Well, listen, would you make sure you tell us when you get your license and you have your car, so we will know, so we won't be surprised when we meet you on the highway?
Okay.
All right, has this been as bad as you thought it would be?
No, it hasn't.
Very good. Thank you very much, Mona. She's working here, and we're very glad to talk with you. And we welcome you back to NCCS in 2 weeks, and all you, her fellow students out there, tell her you saw her on TV.
Okay, thank you very
Right.
much.
Okay, we're right behind the chapel. You can hear the singing, and we have a new person with us, Father.
Yes, Helena Halfley, who's been with us how many years, Helen?
It's 26 seasons.
26 seasons.
Yeah.
Helena. And we found out later, when we hear the last name, that we were just talking to her daughter. Mona is your daughter.
That's
and this is your
correct.
son right over here in the
That's
porch.
right.
So you
William.
all come over. She said she was picking sticks here when she was 5 years old.
That's right.
That's why
Right. She grew up here, actually.
Okay. How far do you live from here physically?
I'm just on the other side of the hill.
Okay.
Yes, I walk to work through the fields in the morning, and in the wintertime I take my skis and I ski to work.
Do you work here in the winter?
Yes, I do.
What happens in the winter?
Oh, in the winter we prepare for the summer,
Oh.
and we have about a large mailing list, and just to update the mailings and to take care of the correspondence, we have 4 full-time helpers.
Oh.
One is the treasurer, one is the coordinator,
Yes.
one is the personal correspondence, and one is general correspondence.
So are you telling me that she's basically your boss?
Wow.
She coordinates it for you, Father? Is that what happened?
Evans, no.
Heavens, no, he won't even admit that. All right.
No.
All right. But you coordinate things, make sure that he's in the right place. You tell him
Well-
where he should be.
Well, actually, he has a personal secretary, Sandra Kenny, who
Okay.
takes care of. I used to do that for him for many years, and in Canada, in Montreal, in the high schools, and then we started here. But Sandra Kenny does that for him. She's his personal secretary
Okay.
and does his personal.
Okay, well, I was going to
correspondence.
ask you if you're a native here, but I know you're not because Mona said
No.
that when she was very young, you moved in from Ontario.
Yes, actually, Mona was born in Montreal. I was visiting my sister, and I didn't make it back to Vermont. And then we left Vermont for a few years. We moved to Ontario because I have family there.
Uh-huh.
And of course, we would come back every spring and then leave in the fall again. So we stayed there for a few years, and now we're back in Vermont, and we're here to stay.
You're here to stay now.
Yes.
All right, and you can't go wrong. But this is a little bit of heaven right here, isn't it?
That's what I was saying.
There's a poem that says that Vermonter said he didn't want to go to heaven. He's already there here before he passes away. It can't be any better, you know.
That's right.
All right. So you.
Oh, we must tell her how.
You've seen the the television called Family Affair, and this is really a family affair because this is the third one of the family that is here and works too, don't you?
Yep.
And your name is?
William Hampton.
And they don't call you Bill, they call you William?
Yeah.
You rather have William? All right,
Yeah.
William it is then. All right, so what do you do here to help?
Mow lawns, like trim, and just like odd jobs and stuff
Okay,
like that.
well, let me tell you what he did first of all this morning. We saw a picture inside of a flood on the wall. And I said, was that this year's flood? They said, no, I didn't think it was. We went in the history room, and when we came back, he had went and got 3 pictures to show us of this year's flood, which we didn't ask him to do. You were very helpful on that. We appreciated that, too. All right? So you said that he'd been here helping since he was 5?
Well, actually, he'd been here since he was born in St. Albans. They were on the mother was on vacation here, and the little one came to us. She was going to go back to Toronto for the birth, but he was born in St. Albans. And so he's really been with us since he's born. But when he was little, 4 or 5 years old, he liked tractors, so I gave him a little John Deere. We took the blade off from it. And since he's 5 years old, he's been driving the little John Deere.
Well, you know, you must miss that restaurant, don't you? You got to get that back here so you can get in that restaurant once in a while, huh? Is there a place you can find a soda around here, though, when you want one?
Yeah, right at the
Oh,
snack
okay,
bar.
well, you can get one once in a while, huh? All right, that a good friend of yours, that little dog back there, huh? Yeah? You run and play with... Is it he or her? Her.
Her.
Her. Tasca. All right. And you're going to school then where? Here in...
Champlain. I go across the lake.
You cross... What grade are you in?
5th. You've been there before.
Did we talk to you over there?
Yeah.
Where? At...
St. Mary's.
You go to St. Mary's. All right. I'm trying to think when... Did I talk to you at school?
No, but some of my friends.
All right. So I didn't talk to you, huh? So who's going to be your teacher this year? Do you know? You're going to be in the 5th?
Yeah.
I know who it is. Mrs. Spiegel.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know who she is, but you know who told me that?
She's from Massachusetts.
Okay, Molly Ryan. You know Molly?
Yeah.
She told me that her teacher this year is going to be Mrs. Spiegel. I said, I don't know who Mrs. Spiegel is. We have only 2 Spiegels in the area. Okay, well, we've you got a new principal and a new teacher this year, and everything's going well. I'll make sure I look for you over there. I had that color hair, a little bit darker when I was... Well, look what happens when you get older, William. See? That happens. And I was wondering where you got the reddish hair in your sister, right from your mom right there.
And Daddy.
And Daddy, too?
Dad has red hair, too, yeah.
How did you find a red-haired person for yourself like that, too?
Well, the Lord provided.
The Lord
I met
provided.
him
There
here
you
at
are.
St. Anne's Shrine.
All right. Listen, this is a happy occasion here at... And look what's overhead, Father.
It's done.
And they've canceled your golf game.
Well, that's okay. We'll go another day.
All right.
It's more important that I visit with you good people.
Well,
today.
isn't that nice? Thank you very much, and thank you for talking to us, William, and also Helena, and good luck to you in your
Thank you.
next 26 years here.
Well, thank you. I hope so. I hope this place will still be in 26
It will be
years
here. It's
from
been
now.
here for 325 years in this area. There'll always be something here.
Good.
Did you meet him at St. Anne's?
My husband?
Yeah?
Yes, I did.
Oh, tell us. Wait, well, I didn't think that. Good question. How did you meet him here?
Well, I met him here. He was in the Air Force in Plattsburgh Base,
Uh-huh.
and Air Force Base, and he would come over here, and this is where I met him.
Well, do a lot of people come by boat to come to church?
On Sunday
Yes,
mornings,
yeah.
anywhere between 25 and 30 boats come from across the lake to come to Mass.
Yeah.
And I don't think he came by boat, but I think he came by car.
He came by car, though, yes.
Sometimes
Yeah.
he came by phone.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Is he still in the Air Force?
No, he's no longer in the Air Force.
Okay.
No.
Works for Pratt & Whitney now.
Okay, yeah.
Comes down to be with his family almost every other weekend.
So where, he's in Connecticut?
No, he's in Toronto, but
Oh, he's in Canada.
yeah.
Pratt Whitney. I should have known that.
Yeah.
He had big engines, yes.
Mhm.
Okay, well, good luck to you over in St. Mary's and your daughter at the NCCS,
Yes.
and you on your skis coming back and forth to work all winter long.
That's right.
You burn wood?
No, we don't. No.
You know what I tell people about burning wood? My father worked very hard, so I wouldn't have to go out and cut wood and burn wood all winter long. We worked very hard on the farm not to have to do that. And you don't need that. And Father, we'll be talking with you again. We're going to go around and see some more here. We got the sun out now. And thanks for tuning in to Hometown Cable. We're at Isle Lamont, St. Anne's Shrine. Don't forget who St. Anne was. Who was St. Anne?
The grandmother of Jesus.
Of course she was. We moved up the hill to kind of show you where we were. We were right down, you see the white building, that's the back of the chapel.
That's right.
And we've come up the hill. We're probably 25 to 30 feet up higher on this whole picnic area. All the benches up here. And Calvin asked the question, can you come here and rent space? Can you have family picnics here or whatever?
What we do is we make all these grounds available to families and groups who want picnics, family gatherings, organizations, and you notice the picnic tables are a little bit disorganized because somebody came here over the weekend and they moved them. But any family that wants to come, they can make reservations, and we have all this spacious ground where people can come for a day of picnic. Usually they come to church, and then after church they'll have picnic and games and spend a nice day of relaxation and socializing.
Okay, and then is there a charge for this here?
Well, actually, we don't charge. The people make an offering.
They do make an offering, the donations?
A goodwill offering, you see. And they're very generous. They appreciate the fact that we have to paint the picnic tables and repair them and keep them up, you know.
And remember, while you're here picnicking, right down below is the beach, so you can go swimming. There's a place to bring your boat in. There's a dog that barks. You can play with the dog.
We were talking about picnics
Yes.
and family gatherings.
Okay, we were talking about the picnics, the family gatherings, and then Tasca was talking to us, and we gave her a stick, and she's playing now. Now, Father, this is where the new building will go, you said.
That's right. This little stone wall is going to be replaced. We're going to dig into the ground so that the first floor will be on the ground level, and the cellar will be underneath the ground mostly.
You can see how it drops off here to the
That's
left,
right.
down toward those barrels. And there's a knoll here, and that will be taken care of, and it will be right underneath. And the basement will be...
Mostly underground.
Okay. And how big is the building? Do you have
the building is going to be 5,600 square feet, which and that's with the cellar, which will give us double the space. It'll be a sizable building. We hope to be able to seat 200 for meals. That's usually the number who come and want to eat at the same time, and also when we have gatherings, we'd like to seat 200 comfortably.
You know, sometimes we get very upset when we have a fire, and it's a devastating thing.
Yeah.
But many times, it's a blessing in disguise.
Well, see, with us, with all the environmental regulations that we have to meet, and the changes that we would have had to make in our sewage and septic system and water system, we have just dug a well, see, which we would have needed anyway, because we're not allowed to take water from the lake unless you have special purifying systems. So this will be a blessing. This will be a blessing because it forces us to do 5 years more quickly what we wanted to do, and so we will have the wonderful building.
Excellent. All right. Anything else up here that we can?
We just dug a well, and it's interesting. And there's about
right over there. You
that's
see
right, an 1.5 inch pipe, and we had it running for 2.5 days, pumping for 2.5 days, and we'd only dug 75 feet, and we have beautiful, clear, sweet water with no taste of sulfur or of other metals or other particles in it. So we're very, very blessed.
Right. You know, as we were off camera walking up here, Calvin mentioned to me that I mentioned we're on Grand Isle, and I guess we're in Grand Isle County, but we're really on Isle Lamont.
Isle Lamont.
There are 5 islands.
That's right. And with regards to, there are 5 islands. This is the smallest of the islands. And with regards to water, we were very fortunate because many of the people here on the islands get sulfur water or mineral laden water. So we were very, very lucky.
That's not uncommon.
4:4 cease to our Lord thy grace into our hearts, that we to whom the incarnation of Christ was made known by the message of an angel, may by his passion and cross be brought to the glory of his resurrection, to the same Christ our Lord. Immaculate Heart of Mary, pray for us. Immaculate Heart of Mary, pray for us. Immaculate Heart of Mary, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Tell me what just happened there, Father.
Well, this is the Angelus. You remember in the olden days how the peasants would stop in the morning and noon in the evening, and there was kind of the time for meals and gathering together and to recognize the Lord. So here every noontime we stop and say the Angelus, the famous and the famous hymn, famous prayer in which the angel of the Lord declared unto Mary that she was conceived by the Holy Spirit, and the Word was made flesh and dwelt amongst us. And then we say the beautiful prayer, pour forth, we beseech thee, O Lord, thy grace into our hearts, and so on.
I hope when you said, do I remember, you mean did I read about it, and not was I there at the time?
No, but did you remember the prayers that we used to say?
Oh, yes, yes, we did. You know,
yeah, that's right.
I'm more of a Sunday go to church Catholic. Never miss Sunday. I don't go to many daily masses, but never miss Sunday. And once in a while I go on Saturday, but I always figured Saturday is
But you're a true Christian.
I'm a true Christian, no question.
You're a man of God.
I am that.
And that's what counts, and we want to congratulate you for the good work that you do.
Thank you very much. We are going to move along. We're going to look at some of the statues here. There's a statue of
the Sacred Heart.
And we'll be right back. We're standing in the middle of this beautiful green field, one of the highest points at St. Anne's Shrine, and there are 4 shrines we see here.
That's
we
right.
call these shrines.
That's
and,
right.
And what do we have, Father?
We have the Sacred Heart of Jesus.
Right here.
St. Anthony and St. Joseph.
Up in the far corner.
That's right. And St. Patrick.
St. Patrick.
The St. Patrick's statue was in the Cathedral of Burlington when it burnt, and the family wanted us to set it up as a shrine in their memory. And so this is how come St. Patrick has come here. And the others were statues that were given to us by different families.
Okay. As we're looking way down, we see the brass or the shiny gold color of the Champlain Shrine.
No, this is a statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Okay, we're going there next to see that. But look at these beautiful trees through here. Yeah. Well-kept grounds. They're just about ready to cut the grass right now. That's right. The grass, and that's going to be William doing some of that?
Every 8 or 10 days. William does that. Yeah,
he does that, huh?
He'll be helping because some of the college students have gone. So
how many do you have working usually?
Actually, we have 5 on the grounds. 6 in the cafeteria section, 3 in the chapel, 5 in the office, and then we also have some cleaning people.
Are there still some of your St. Edmund, I don't want to say trainees, what am I going to say?
Oh, seminarians?
Yes?
No, they're being trained elsewhere now.
So do you have anybody else except yourself in the clergy during the summer?
In the summer I have Father Cote, of course, Father Fredette, and a priest comes in from St. Michael's College.
But Father Cote don't stay here,
no,
he
just
still
comes
goes
and
over. Yes, he's right.
Me. That's right.
He's only a few miles across. You ought to get him a boat. He could cross over on the boat.
That's right. That would be good, yes.
Right. All right, we're going to walk down there. You're visiting with us here at St. Anne's Shrine in Isle Lamont. Beautiful Isle Lamont, full of history in the northern part of Vermont on Grand Isle County. The island is called Isle Lamont.
This is where Teddy Roosevelt was when he found out he was president.
That's right.
Is that right?
That's right, yes. He was given the news that he was elected president when he was here in Isle Lamont at one of our hotels.
Well, now, that's news that Calvin, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Was he elected, or the president died and he was vice president?
He was vice president, I think. I don't think he was elected, yeah.
He was vice president and the president died. And
that's right.
That's right. The second one in Vermont that happened to. Same thing happened down in, I can't think of the name, but when Calvin Coolidge was also named while he was visiting at his hometown in Lower Vermont.
That's right. That's right. It's the hand of the Lord.
Yes, All right, here's where see the people here gather. There are seats. You can come and sit if you want to sit a while and say your prayers or whatever you want to do here in this beautiful, beautiful grounds. Has it changed very much over the years, Father?
Well, every year we try to improve it. We try to make changes that will improve it. And we're very careful in landscaping that we don't have a hodgepodge of landscaping. We planted the trees ourselves, and in fact, some time ago, somebody said, let's hire a landscape artist, and somebody said, no, you people are doing a good job. So we kind of, the fences and the whole atmosphere, the docks, we try to do it with some kind of planning so it won't be a hodgepodge of different types of landscaping.
Right, now you mentioned 5 or 6 people in the cafeteria, and your cafeteria burned. Does that mean that this tent area?
We have a food bus and the tent, which was put on by a caterer, the Abbey Caterers, and he hired our staff to run it for them. So there are 6 people doing the work.
And that's where the cafeteria was, right in that area before?
That's right. That's
all right.
Yes.
And here's that beautiful shrine. How old is this shrine?
Well, this statue here has been here 2 years, and we built this after a lot of planning and questions and answers. We formed a committee, and we set up this pedestal, and the statue, the whole thing is about 33 feet high. The local carpenters made the pedestal, and some of our volunteers repainted the statue. It's gold painted. It's gold leafing. It's real gold.
And it's the Blessed Virgin.
The Blessed Our Lady of Lourdes.
All right. Our Lady of Lourdes. Isn't that beautiful? You look over here in the front, and just a gorgeous. Do you ever have any prayers or
yes,
out here?
During the Feast of the Assumption, we had a Triduum, and every night we had a procession here, and with teenagers all dressed in blue and white, and probably 300 or 400 people coming to pray.
Yeah. Are there any pilgrimages of young people?
Actually, we have youth groups who come. We've had a number this summer, grammar school, high school, and they come and we get them to pray together. But the youth on our staff are very generous, and they share with us also.
You know, Isle of Mont is also quite famous, we might say, because the Sisters of the Charity of the Sacred Heart used to have a camp, or they still have a camp.
And also the Brothers of the Sacred Heart are here also. They have a summer camp here. It's a very nice camp, and the Sisters' home is a nice home.
Yep. Right here on Isle of Mont in New York State, just across that lake over there. You're looking nearly across at the Shazy Landing, just on your left, and over to the right is Rouse's Point and Kings Bay in that area. I think just about. I can see a big silo there. I'm not sure whose big silo that is.
Probably one of the Castines.
Yeah, it might be Castines over there. I had a camp across there. I was telling some people years ago, I came over at Mass with my 3 children. They were young on a Saturday night, and the lake was very nice. And when I started, I noticed a little choppy, but not much. And I got halfway out, and the water was coming in the boat, and I was one petrified father. Yeah, they all had their life preservers on, but I never came again with boat, no matter how nice it was.
The lake is kind of treacherous.
Yes, it is.
You have to watch it because the wind can come up in no time.
It did that night, and I didn't realize it until I got it. It was just as far to come back as it was to go. So I continued. There weren't any other boats out there. I was very, very scared. I said a lot of prayers that trip.
Thank God you're here and nothing happened.
A little tiny wooden boat with a 10 horsepower motor. I wasn't going too fast.
The St. Anne, the Blessed Mother, watched over you.
I guess so. I was praying to every saint I knew, Father.
This statue is interesting. It was on the top of the cathedral in Burlington, and in 1971 the cathedral burnt, and the statue was preserved intact, and it was in a storeroom for 20 years, and so we were able to convince the diocesan officials to give it to us, and we've set it up as a monument. And it kind of protects all the Diocese of Burlington. It looks over the Diocese of Ogdensburg, too.
Now, those are all lit up at night, those lights?
Yes, that's right.
I wouldn't be surprised if you had binoculars over in New York side. You could see this from over there.
You can see it from Coopersville.
You can, huh?
Yeah, that's right. And, of course, we are grateful that we were able to get her here, and she's a source of great many blessings. A wonderful blessing for the shrine to have her here.
It certainly is. And so you're using all your land right now, all the 13 acres.
That's right. And we're hoping someday, there's a neighbor who has some land that he wants to give to us on the other side. There are 5 acres there, and so we're hoping to negotiate that someday. If he doesn't give it to us, maybe we can purchase it.
I was going to say, would that be very hard to work out, that someone wanted to give you something it would be worked out all right?
Oh, sure. He's a fine man, and I'm sure it'll come.
Great legacy, too, to him.
That's right.
Because it'll be here for many, many years. We're enjoying ourselves here at St. Anne's Shrine. We're going to go down and see some more of the memorable places and some of the places that you'll want to see when you come over here to St. Anne. You've got another month and a half, nearly 2 months, while it'll still be open. And it's beautiful here in early October when all these leaves have turned.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. Right. Yeah, this is perhaps one of the most scenic spots in the state of Vermont because it's flat down by the chapel and then it's elevated here. And we can see the lake so beautifully. So I think it was made by God. The hand of God was here.
Well, you know, if you know the beautiful scenery there is in Vermont, and when someone can tell you this is probably the nicest of any of them, you've got to know it's beautiful. Calvin just reminded me off TV here that we ought to tell Father Gardner that you have to come over here, Father. Father Soucy used to be on an awful lot from Champlain, and Father Gardner never got on very often, and he was always kidding Father Soucy about it. But see, we're over here now with 2 priests, Father Gardner. Now that you're feeling better and that foot is better, you could be over here on TV also. But we got Father Cody back on. You finished your Mass, and you were telling us as we closed off before that you've known this man for a good number of years. Tell us about your connection with Father Boucher.
Well, first of all, I met his 2 brothers, Paul, in 1944 when I went to St. Edmunds in Swanton. And then I met Bernard in 1946, I guess it was, when he came to St. Edmunds, both to study for the priesthood. And it was around that time that I got to know Father Maurice here quite well through the brothers. He was then in the seminary. And I think it was in that spring of 1948 when Father Maurice Boucher was ordained a priest. So I got to know him quite well then. Then the following year, when I ended up going to St. Michael's in Winooski Park, Vermont College, there I met Father Boucher a little bit more when he was, of course, supervisor of a dormitory, St. John's Hall, I guess it was. I even remember that. And I got to know, of course, some of the boys from the Burlington Diocese over there quite well. So I was there pestering him as well as the boys over there, but he never really kicked me out. He was a wonderful supervisor.
That's 45 years.
45 years. I've been ordained 45 years. That was the year that I was ordained, that I went to St. Michael's and met this fine young man. Little we know that 45 years later we'd be working together.
That's right, that's right.
He was here the night of the Feast of the Assumption, Father Cote was, and he gave the talk, a talk on the Blessed Mother, the Beatitudes and Mary. An excellent job. Everybody just loved it, and we discovered a gifted speaker.
Okay, you're telling me that a priest's life is not a lonely life then?
Oh, no.
No, huh?
Far from it. Far from it. No, it's not really.
And great friendships.
Oh, great friendship, and especially a great opportunity to deal with people and to deal with one another and to help one another on our journey. I call it a journey to eternity. It's a wonderful journey if you let the Lord enter your life.
Hey, when you were talking there, Father, you said you came over to St. Edmunds. You mean the school, the high school?
There was a junior seminary over there.
In
high school.
In Albert?
In Swanton, Vermont.
In Swanton, there was.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I was there for many, many years until about 1950 or 51, I guess.
Okay.
When they finally closed, and etc. That's right.
All right.
Now, I also want to say that I have been coming, because of the St. Edmund, I've been coming to Isle of Mont here since July, my first visit in 1944, when I made application, of course, for Swanton.
Are you, are you very close to the same age? No?
He's about 5 years younger than
5 years younger than you. See how he said that? He didn't say he's 5 years older than him. He said he's 5 years younger. It makes him sound younger. Right, Father?
Well, we'll go along with that. It might be a couple years difference in that.
All right. Thank you very much, Father, for filling us. That's a great story. And it's nice that you say 45 years and now you're together. As we would say it, you're just across the...
Just across.
Can you look from your rectory and see the shrine or the statue?
Not really.
Get it binoculars.
Because I'm a little bit too far away from the lake.
Okay.
A little bit too. I'm about a half a mile from the lake.
Yeah. God, that's real far. People don't even see lakes in some areas, and you're okay, but you're only half a mile.
Just about half a mile. 3/4 at the most.
All right, we'll be back. We're at St. Anne's and Father Cody, Father Boucher. We're directly across the road from the chapel. And this is a sign marker commemorating this very important first white settlement the site of French Fort St. Anne, Vermont's oldest settlement. This shore was the site of Fort St. Anne, built in 1666 by Captain Pierre Lamotte for defense against the Mohawk Indians. The Jesuits celebrated the first Mass and erected the first chapel. Though not permanent, this stockade was Vermont's first white settlement. And this is erected by the Vermont Historic Sites Commission. Vermont Freedom and Unity symbol on the top of this great sign. And there's the seating arrangement. And way up ahead is where we were in the chapel. And there's where we were. As you look across, as this is just, that's not picnic area, that's the beautiful surroundings. The tent is right behind, off at 1 o'clock there, or 2 o'clock. In behind this big building is where the 4 shrines were. You can see the roof up. We were up in that area before. Beautiful flowers. And this is I guess the site of the fort was right in this general area. And this is the way to Calvary, where they had the Stations of the Cross. We're going to go in there when Father comes back from the office, and we'll be talking. You see there's numerous cars here. There's 8 or 10 cars on that side and about 6 or 8 over there, and people are starting to show up. It was raining when we came here this morning. It was raining very heavily around 10 a.m., and now at 12:15, the sun has gone behind a cloud, but it's still a very nice late summer day. And we're in the midst of the Way of the Cross, and Father, you were telling us that this is where the fort was?
Yes, the dimensions of the fort were about the dimensions of this area, and we have done some, Father Curlew, who first came here to develop the shrine, did some digging, and he found these stones where we have the Stations of the Cross. Each station is built on the stones that were picked from the old fort.
Okay. And so these stones that are there are part of the fort?
That's right.
And this has been redone, you say?
This is something that we built. We had this built a few years ago in memory of good benefactors. The corpus came from St. Mary's Church in St. Albans, and the cross is made out of well pipe. And it fits in here very well. And the same masons did this as they did the pedestal for the statue of the Blessed Mother.
I don't recall seeing this fence here the last time I was here around.
Well, what we did is a few years ago, areas where we didn't want people to tramp all over, we built the rail fence, and it gives it kind of a rustic look and also a little dignity.
And you have a kneeler at each of the...
kneeler at each station. That's right. And people are... In fact, there's a family here doing the stations right now. They're from St. Johnsbury, and they've come here for a little picnic today and a little pilgrimage. Right.
Father, I assume that the Society of St. Edmund are still accepting people to become in the order?
Very much so, very much so. We have 4 seminarians, and we like to see 16.
Okay. Now, I'm not here to tell you to become a seminarian, but on the other hand, if you have any questions or any desires or just a question you're wondering, I'm sure you could stop in and see Father and have a little talk. And
sure.
He's not going to convince you to be in, but he may help you to decide if that's what you think you want.
Yeah, one of the things that I did...
It takes a... Okay.
One of the blessings in my life came when, as a high school student, I decided to go to St. Michael's College. And then, of course, while I was at St. Michael's my sophomore year, I decided to try the priesthood and went on to the novitiate of the Society of St. Edmund, then went on to be ordained. And, of course, I've had all these years of wonderful, happy life serving God, bringing people to God and God to people. And we are, of course, accepting seminarians to continue our work at St. Michael's in the South and here, and the Lord is going to provide for us.
Now, when you say you were a sophomore, you thought you'd like to be...
college, yes.
Before that, had you had any thoughts at all?
Oh, yes. When I was in high school, I thought about it too, you see, and there was a voice from the time that I was in 8th grade, there was a voice in me saying, how can you get to heaven and help others to get to heaven? And by choosing the priesthood, I was able to help an awful lot of people get to heaven.
Anybody else in your family in the religious?
I have a brother who's a teaching brother in Montreal. He's with the Holy Cross Brothers, and he incidentally works at St. Joseph's Oratory, and he's a guide there. And he was a teacher for a good many years, and now he finds doing guide work much easier.
I'm not sure I can recall, but did you tell me most of the 11 children are still living?
Actually, all but one. Yeah,
I
they're all living.
Okay,
yes,
all living. All right. Now, Father, I can't help but notice some plates, brass plates. What are those?
Blackboards. People who have given donations to the shrine, and we remember them by putting up a little plaque in memory of their loved ones, their friends, relatives, benefactors.
Right. Now, is that the shrine in general, or just this area?
This is just for this area.
This area, they designated it for this
That's
area.
Right. The same thing with the statue of Mary up on the hill.
Yeah.
There are people there who have donated a donation.
I'm sure that people could come in this area right here and get an awful lot of peace and solitude. Maybe they can find themselves right here.
Oh yes, that's right. That's why people come here, and they'll spend a lot of time here. On Friday afternoon, we usually have adoration, and we bring the Blessed Sacrament here, and people pray for the whole afternoon.
All I can hear right now here is, I can't hear the water. All I can hear is the wind through the trees here. And as a matter of fact, we're getting a few, the wind is coming up, and you can see the lake is getting a little choppy.
That's right. That reminds you of the day with
your yes.
with your children.
I don't know if it was quite this bad when I left here, because I probably wouldn't have. I mean, I would have called my wife, and she could have come and got us, but I don't think she ever realized just how uncomfortable I was, how uncomfortable, because she didn't care for a boat, so she didn't come with us. She went the next day in Champlain. Well, all right. Anything else in here that we should see?
Well, I think we can go on to the statue of Champlain now.
Okay, the statue of Champlain, and I know just a little bit, that has something to do with Expo in 1967 in Montreal.
That's right.
Well, we'll find out more when we get there. Thanks, Father.
I can get the name of the.
Okay.
Of the artist.
What you're looking at is the statue of Samuel D. Champlain. Father's gone on the other side to try to get the name of the artist. You got S.L. Weiss. W-I-W-E-I-S-S. W-E-I-S-S was the sculptor of this. And that was, it says right on it, was created in the Vermont Pavilion during the Universal and International Exhibition of 1967, better known as Expo, at Montreal, Canada, presented to the town of Isle-la-Mont by the state of Vermont and dedicated July 7th, 1968.
There's a rather interesting story behind this. They had to pass an act of legislature to get it here. There were so many people who wanted it in Swanton, in Highgate Springs, and so there was finally, because of the ideal situation here, it was sent here. Samuel de Champlain is supposed to have landed here in 1609, so it was only fitting that it come here to Isle-la-Mont.
1609 is the date that's used for the discovery of Lake Champlain by Samuel de Champlain, and one of the first monuments in the area to Champlain was constructed in the community of Champlain, right on St. Mary's Church front lawn in, I think, 1909, July 1909, it was put up there. And then there's one in Plattsburgh, and there's this one.
That's right.
And what more fitting than he was right here at this site.
That's right. According to his travels, he landed on the Sande Point in Lake Champlain, and this is one of the few Sande Points and that just out into the lake, so we conclude that it was here that he stopped.
Right. This was created and done right there at Expo, during the Expo 6-month tenure of the Expo, and it's a great gift, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's wonderful. And when we take good care of it, we try to protect it and make sure that every once in a while a child will climb on it, and we tell them that it's not a ladder,
yes,
not a plaything.
Yes. This is one of the parking areas, one of the biggest parking areas right here, right across from the chapel. And when people come, it's one of the first things they see, in addition to the chapel and your seating area.
That's right. And we have large crowds who come, especially on weekends.
Right. Father, when you say large crowds, it means different things to different people. Can you give us any idea in number what that might mean?
Well, for instance, on a Saturday night, we might have 350 to 400 people here.
That come to services?
That's right. Then Sunday morning, 8:30, we probably have a couple hundred. And then about 400 or 500 at the 10 and the 11:15 masses. It's amazing. In fact, I go out there and I say, here I am from a little town of Highgate, and I meet this vast crowd.
Yes.
Sometimes it scares me a little
Well,
bit.
yes. But it's that good French background that we have, Father. I just found out recently that my family was raised in Saint Jacques d'Achagon or something up there.
Yeah.
It's since 1650.
That's right.
As long as this has been here, my family's been up in that area. And I just found that out in the past year.
So we develop a little bravery, a little courage, you see, and we just get up there and say,
Well,
Lord, you use me as your instrument.
If you want to see a lot of your friends and neighbors that you haven't seen for a while, come over here to Mass. You'll see them.
That's right.
You will see them. My sister, when she came a year ago, we came over to Mass here, and we saw all kinds of... Matter of fact, that's where I made the appointment, Calvin, to do Ralph Boyer, and Delagar was right here in the chapel here when I saw him. I don't see him all the time over in Rouse's Point, but I saw him here, and I made arrangements. Yes, he said he would be glad to do that with us on Hometown Cable. All right, and so in the wintertime... Do you keep it plowed? Do you keep it plowed?
We keep it plowed, and we leave the chapel door open. People still come during the winter to
to
pray. Yes, and we are glad to receive them. They'll burn votive lights, so they'll stop in the office and will ask us for petitions and for offerings.
We're going to walk over across the street. Now there's a lean-to there we want to see, or an A-frame and a few other things. Anything else we should see here, Father?
I guess we're all set here. It's nice to be able to visit with Mr. Champlain. I call him Mr. Champlain.
All right. Don't forget when you're here, there are trash cans, and it's pretty well picked up. And don't forget, use the trash can. That's what they're there for.
That's right. People are very good. On Monday morning, I hire little fellows to pick up papers, and we used to have much more than we have now, but I give them 2 cents per paper that they pick up. And some of them will make $3 or $4 with that, But it's nice to keep the place nice and
Well,
clean.
that's why when I go by here on Sunday, I see that little sign up with a little fellow saying, "Okay to throw papers on the ground." That must be why, Father.
And then I destroyed that.
We're just north of the chapel, and there's a walkway here about 8 or 10 feet wide. And where does this lead us to, Father?
Leads us to the Grotto of St. Anne, which was built in 1959. And the idea of the grotto is to burn votive lights. See, people would come, they would leave offerings for votive lights for the Blessed Mother in St. Anne. So we extended the grotto of the Blessed Mother, which we'll see in a few minutes, and here we built this cover so that the votive lights wouldn't blow out, you see.
Okay.
And they burn, you see, some were burnt over the weekend.
Right.
And
Father, give us a definition of the word grotto.
A grotto is a sacred little house, if you want, in which we cover a saint, see. A grotto, in the grotto of the Shrine of Lourdes, where the water flows, and so we call them grottos. It makes it a little bit easier to define them and to describe them.
I'm sure that most of you knew that, but those who didn't, aren't you glad I asked?
That's right. A sacred little spot. That's what it really is.
Some of the questions I ask I do know, but I figure there's somebody out there may not know, and we should at least, it's a name you don't hear every day.
Sure, and this makes it an educational tour.
I think you should also note these beautiful flowers that they have planted. Look at that beautiful flower over there next to the sign. The 2 here at the entrance of the grotto. And they're all on either side.
In the boxes. They're impatient. And they're slow starting, but once you get them started, they really do well, and they're beautiful. And they don't need as much care as petunias.
No.
Because some flowers you have to pick. These you don't have to pick.
Right. You have a souvenir shop?
We have a little souvenir shop there, yes. And people come. The order of visits is the bathrooms, the cafeteria, the chapel, then the souvenir shop.
The bathrooms are number 1.
First, number 1, that's right.
Now, do you have a postmark here at Isle Lamont that says Isle Lamont?
St. Anne's Shrine, Isle Lamont.
You do have it,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we have a post office.
You have your own post office?
Yeah.
What's your zip code?
Actually, we use the town zip code 05463.
05463.
The post office is in the village. We don't have our own post office, but they're happy to have us because we're a good customer.
I bet you are.
Yeah,
I bet you are.
Yeah.
All right. And now, is all of the main house where you had your seminar, is it all under use, not being used?
We use it for male staff in the summer. And then for guests, when guest priests come,
Mm-hmm.
they use those for the rooms upstairs and downstairs it's office, mostly office space.
Now, during the summer, are you here or back at your rectory?
No, I'm back here. I have an
You're
apartment
here.
here in the
Now,
office.
now, and you're available to go back to the rectory at any time. You have
yes,
somebody at the
that's
office there?
No, we close that in the
How do
summer.
you know about an emergency? They know to call you here?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
All
right. The office staff here takes care of the parish and the mission work. So it's all
Okay.
done in the office here.
I don't know if this is a good time, but maybe I'll at least ask the question. There was a very bad accident over here in East Alberg last night, we hear, of a drowning and so forth. You know anything about that, Father?
All I heard was that the boat was going fast and three people fell out, and that one of them was not found yet. But I'm not sure whether they've had any luck finding the person
Okay.
this morning. A little 4 or 5 year old
That's
boy.
what we heard.
Yeah, probably.
Very tragic.
That's too bad. Yeah.
Very, very tragic. Very tragic. Just another reason why you've got to wear those life preservers in the boats, and I understand you did not have any on.
Absolutely.
And it's a law that you have to have in New York State. And don't forget, we're not here to preach to you, because although we haven't preached, we're not preaching, but we're telling you, when you get out of those boats, respect that water, wear those life preservers. We don't need those kind of
Very
accidents.
important.
Yep.
God bless the little fellow and the family, his parents especially. It's sad when you lose a child like
Very
that.
bad, very sad.
And we pray for them.
Okay, we moved over to another grotto, Father. And you said this is the grotto of
the Blessed Virgin Mary. Again, Our Lady of Lourdes. Interestingly, the first part of the grotto was built by a non-Catholic, the Gid Stanhope, who was a farmer, and he had a good relationship with the Edmundite Fathers and the shrine, and so he offered to build this grotto. We wanted to build a grotto to the Blessed Mother. Then it was extended, and the local carpenters, the same ones who did the Stations of the Cross and who did the pedestal for the statue of the Blessed Mother, did this. And again, the idea is to be able to burn votive lights, to burn candles. And so here we are, and this is a very popular grotto. Very popular.
It looks to me like that second part that was built was right about where you see the first row of lights?
Yes.
Just above it, that's where, if you look on the wall, you can see the line of demarcation where and the stones are a little bit different.
That's right. We used to have a tin to cover the candles, and the wind would blow them out, so we decided that the best thing to do was to extend it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was extended in memory of Carl Merchant by his wife and the children.
From Rouse's Point, New York, let's not
right,
forget.
yeah.
That's Stephen, Mary, Terry, and Burton, the merchants. Railroad people for many, many years in Rouse's Point.
Yeah, good people.
Good people.
Very
Good people.
I'm so happy that this is here.
Yep.
And that's a wonderful memory. He was a good man.
Isn't it something when you think that when you had the original one, you thought that was as nice as you could ever get
That's
it?
right.
And then all of a sudden, you get the idea, you're going to extend it, and you say, how could we have ever thought of that at the time?
And how come we fought with metal covers and
That's right.
the wind blowing
Exactly.
and the rain and
Yep.
so this is much better.
Yep, very nice, very popular, you said.
Yeah, yes,
and
right.
Calvin is sitting in the seat here for 6 people at the pew and the kneeler, to give you, as he said, a pew's-eyes vision. A what?
A pew view.
A pew view, right here from in there. And again, off to the right, is behind the glass, are some special plaques for those people who have given donations toward this, or given it to the
shrine.
to the shrine, but dedicated for
That's
this.
right. In honor of the Blessed
In honor of
Virgin
the
Mary.
Blessed Virgin.
And thanksgiving for a favor received or for some other reason.
Very restful here, just to the side of the chapel, and the flowers around the trees here, just beautiful, beautiful.
Actually, it's these little grottos and the little different touches, like the Way of the Cross of Calvary and the statue, that make St. Anne's Shrine all together. People are surprised to know that we have so many different places to pray and places to meditate and to be refreshed and to be re-strengthened.
You know, you can talk all you want about the facilities and the wood and the stone and the flowers and the trees, but without a person who is so dedicated and really tailor-made for this job like Father Boucher, it just wouldn't be that. You'll never know that so far because he's been here on and off since 1956. No one else has really been here for any length of time,
That's
correct?
right. It was another priest who took my place for 3 or 4 years, and then I returned, and he was very happy to see me return.
He was. Well, I heard that you said you're going to keep it for another 30 years, too. Is that true?
I'd like to have at least 10 if I can. And God has been good. This has been a privilege for me to serve here, and to be able to spread devotion to St. Anne, the Blessed Mother, and of course to bring people to God and God to people. And it's really a center of life, a center of love, a center of light. God's life, Jesus' love, and the light of the Holy Spirit.
You know, in addition to being a customer, I was a friend of Larry Paquette's and of Celine now, and they speak so highly of Isle Lamont, and St. Anne's, and of Father Boucher.
Well, I speak highly of them because God sent them, and they were real ambassadors. They're the ones who started, who were so dedicated and so much interested in seeing the shrine develop. And I was the one who performed their marriage ceremony.
I know that. Were you at his? When he was they were the king and queen, were you at that party?
No, I wasn't there. Yes, I was there.
Were you?
Yeah.
When Mark Berry said the reason that he hadn't got married till later in life, he was waiting for the charge to come off the bridge. He didn't want to pay the 50 cents, and once they got it off, he came over and got married.
And we did it gladly, and we're grateful to God for such good people. This is how the shrine is being able to be maintained and to grow and to prosper, because of our friends, our relatives, and benefactors. And of course we are thankful, especially to Northern New York and Vermont, Canada, and all the people who come to visit with us.
For other people out there who are benefactors, and I didn't mention your name, I'm sorry, I don't know your names, I don't know who you are, but I did know because Larry spoke to me so much about this, and so has Celine. And that's why I mentioned them rather than somebody else. I'm sure there are many others who have done an awful lot here, and others who come to your services here, Father.
Yes, and we're grateful to everyone, and especially to the clergy and the religious and our musical teams. They're just wonderful. So we thank God for all the blessings that we receive here.
We're going to go inside in just a minute and look at some of the history before Father Boucher even happened. But I want one thing before we go in. I mentioned earlier that William had showed us some pictures of the flood. How bad was the flood this year, Father?
It was 1.5 feet of water right here.
Right where we are.
About 2 feet right here. Yes, and there was 1.5 feet in the open-air church. So it was 2.5 feet here.
Yeah.
And I had to get my boots we only had one building that was affected. That was the candle room. And I put my boots on. I took the candles out of the water so they wouldn't get ruined. But thank God, except for a few trees and some damage, there wasn't that much damage done, you see.
Good.
But we will have to replant 10 trees this fall that were damaged. We lost some right here.
There's 2 there you can see that went.
Yeah, the water killed them, you see.
The water killed. Too long in the water. How long was the water here, Father?
About 3 weeks.
That long?
Yeah, but we're thankful that it wasn't any worse.
And William said the traffic continued to go by, or Mona said it continued to go by, but slowly.
Very, very slowly, yeah.
All right. That's the story here at St. Anne's Shrine. We're going in now and look at many, many years ago, before Father and I were even born. I want to tell you that this is a very clean operator I have right here with us today, Father Boucher. As we walk around and he sees papers, he picks them up. And we came in the back of the chapel to throw them in the trash can, and we see these hanging crutches. And we said, there's a story here, Father?
There's a story behind each crutch or behind each brace. People who were healed, either here or at home, have brought us the canes and the crutches and the braces. There's a history of suffering and of pain behind each one, but also of healing. One of the purposes of the shrine is to heal people who are hurting physically or mentally or spiritually, and so we're so happy to have these here with us. We have eliminated the names because some people didn't like to have their names, so we thought it would be better. Mm-hmm. Just to leave them anonymous, and the tag sometimes gets soiled and stained, and so it's better to do it this way. And they date way back, way before I came here, probably in the first pilgrimages of the 1900s, so we are glad to have these, and people are quite touched by them too.
Oh, sure. Oh, you see it and you figure that's what they're there for, but you want to hear it. But you mentioned it's not only the physical, the mental. There's a lot of mental pain
mental
people have a lot of problems with
and
just
a lot of social pain.
yes.
And social pain. And we have had miracles here, but we downplay them because God is the one who performs miracles. We're not the miracle workers. God works through us or through the priests here, and so we attribute them to the intercession of St. Anne and the Blessed Mother, and of course God's power. God is the healer.
Father, let me at least bring something up. We talk about it as much as you want. Certainly, since you became a priest 45 years ago, the biggest change in the church, I think, is confession.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Actually, the sacrament of reconciliation is very important. Now, we usually have a priest here on Sunday morning on duty between 8:30, 8:15, and 12:30, or 12:15. And confessions are available, and it's amazing the number of people who come to the sacrament of reconciliation, and because there's an inner need to confess to somebody, to confess to God through the priest. And the sacrament of reconciliation is still very much in effect. Now, for some reason or another, people are a little hesitant to approach. But here, it's a different land, it's a different parish, and they come.
Because certainly in our own parishes, that statement you just made is no longer true. I don't go to confession like I used to go on a regular basis. I do more or less maybe when I'm in church praying. They said you can do that to yourself and so forth. And it has changed a lot in our local parishes. And maybe when they know they're over here, they say, well, here's a good chance to go to confession to a stranger.
That's right. And we have anywhere from a week to 30, 40, 50 years. People have been away sometime and they come back, and it's a chance for them to reinstate themselves in the state of grace, the state of friendship. God forgives sins. You don't have to have confession, because anybody who says to the Lord, I love you, I believe in you, I'm sorry, it will be forgiven. But it's kind of nice to get that feeling, like going to a doctor and the doctor says you're in good shape.
Okay.
And you get out of there, you feel strong. Well, the same thing with the sacrament of reconciliation. And so, again, many of these people who've left these crutches here came wanting to be healed, and they were healed. And of course, they also used the sacraments of reconciliation and of the sick and of communion, of the Eucharist.
One of the things, I used a bad word there. I said stranger over here. This man could never be a stranger. Look at this kind, gentle face. Here, look at both of us, two kind faces together. Bob Venn, Father Maurice Boucher, the director of St. Anne's Shrine in Isle Lamont, Vermont. And we're happy to be here. We're going to go to that history room now. We didn't know we were going to see this when we came in, but we're glad we came in.
Well, I'm glad we did too.
When you first look at we're in the main building, as we saw that long building we were talking, we're in the room on the front toward the altar, and what was this before, Father?
This was just a kind of a reception room. At one time it was also an office until we built the other office building in the back of this building.
Okay. And you decided to have a room of history and relics.
Well, what happened was that we had relics all over the place, and we had materials and pictures, and it was all scattered, so we decided to put it all in one place so people could look at it and could enjoy it. And it's worked out very well.
So now this is somewhere between the restrooms and the souvenir shop for people wanting to see?
That's right.
Good, it falls right in there.
Yeah, it's called a history room. We call it a history room.
Okay. Well, we got your dog is back. Wants to come in?
She wants to come in. She wants to come and
She hears us talking. Yeah. All right. Behind us, we can see the church, the cathedral in Burlington, and this is where the statue was at the very top, as Father told us.
That's right. And we can see it where after the fire, where it didn't topple. You see.
And it's being taken down, and here it's being placed on.
It was on a trailer.
A trailer, and then here's where it is here now.
That's right.
At the shrine. Right. And the story is here, and the article's out of the paper. All right, as we move around, Father, this Sunday afternoons in Isle Lamont. Tell us what this is.
This is a picture of during the before the First World War. See how they came by boat, and there were big docks, and this was really the beginning of the shrine and how it started. See,
look at the big boat right here. Look at the size of that.
Ticonderoga.
Right.
And so it's kind of nice to review what happened. And during this First and Second World War, of course, with the shortage of fuel, they abandoned those pilgrimages. And then it was in 1956, 55 actually, that the bishop of our diocese said, "Let's go to it. Let's get the pilgrimages back."
Mm-hmm. And then over here, they have a very quick biographical sketch, historical sketch of St. Anne's Shrine, starting in 1609 when the lake was discovered. And then, of course, the important date was right in here, 1956, the Reverend Maurice Boucher, SSE, that's Society of St. Edmund, becomes the director of St. Anne's Shrine, upgrading facilities and encouraging group pilgrimage. And it's worked out very well.
Yeah, well, it's God's hand is in it. Not it's we are only as successful as God allows us to be.
Then in 1964, Father Boucher leaves St. Anne's for mission work in North Carolina, but came back in 69, and now is the pastor here, as well as the pastor at St. Amadeus in
St. Joseph's Mission.
And where's St. Joseph's Mission?
In the village here.
In the village here, right, which is around the other side of the island. This is the story, the dedication of the statue of the Samuel D. Champlain we saw outside. This is a replica, I guess, of Samuel D. Champlain, a painting. Not taken at the time, by the way. It was a conception.
Yeah.
All right, and here are the real relics of Fort St. Anne. There may be some reflections here now in this glass, but Father, what can you tell us about some of these in here?
Well, we have different artifacts that were found in the nails and metal and axes, and some of the dishes probably came later.
Mm-hmm.
But these Indian heads are very interesting, and some of these artifacts are hundreds of years old, and they're precious. We've lost a lot of them. I pulled these together. They used to be under the basement here, and I pulled them together and put them up in the attic. And then when I returned in '69, we kind of culled them and tried to save them.
Mm-hmm.
But they are precious and very valuable, of course. Wonderful memories of the old Fort St. Anne.
Mm-hmm. Of course, down here there's a fork, parts of forks.
That's right.
And way down here is a bit from a horse across here. I don't know if that middle piece belonged there. That would certainly make your horse go where you wanted him to if you have those in his mouth.
The bit is probably a bit older than, a bit newer than the bit. It wasn't here in '66, but later in the history of the shrine.
Mm-hmm. So don't ever forget that as happy and as nice things are today, history is what brought all this here, right? It's very, very important. When you have things at home, keep them don't let them get out of hand. Mark your items so that the people who follow you will know this. Because we talked about Father Boucher's family, the 11 kids, his mother, his dad, way back to where he was 5 or 6 years old milking the cow on the other side with your mother. Great memory, Father.
Wonderful.
Great memory.
Wonderful.
And your nephews and nieces will hear this and, go on. And we were wondering, we see this picture, we're wondering who this is. We recognize you, but who is this?
That's our good friend, Pope John Paul.
Yes, all right.
I met him when I was in Rome studying in 1979. And we had a picture taken with him. We were up in the program for clergy, updating the clergy, and I was there for 3 months. And these are all pictures. Some, you can tell the buses here and the different people. Here's William and Mona.
Yeah, Mona and William right here. We talked to
this morning. Yeah.
Yes.
And so these are all fond memories. The staff put these together. Here's Mona when she was just a little girl.
And her mom?
And her mom, that's right. And so these in the future will be very valuable, precious memories of the shrine. And this is the bishop who urged that the superior send somebody to develop the shrine, Bishop Ryan.
Now, we were talking inside just before we came in. I said, listen to this, Father Maurice Boucher, gentle compassion, warm smile, and unflinching faith touch all who visit the shrine. He is ever about the task of making St. Anne's a center of life, light, and love. If he can say that about himself, why can't I say what I did?
That's right. You're right. Actually, I think my secretary said
she wrote that. You didn't say that about yourself?
They said that about me.
And Father, of course. It says right here, he was born in Sabine, Quebec, on May the 9th, 1922. There's his age. And he's 5 years older or 6 than Father Cody. You know how old Father Cody is now. He attended St. Allen's High School and so forth, and he went to St. Michael's, and the whole story is right here a great tribute, and that'll be there forever. Even though we won't be here forever, that will be there forever. What about over here, Father? Anything else we should know about?
This is the boats and the landing at the old, when they had the old docks. And you see the cement.
The Twin Boys, Shazy Landing, New York. You know why that was called the Twin Boys, Calvin? Gerald and Sweet and his brother were twins, and it was called the Twin Boys at Sweet's Landing. And I don't remember his brother's name now. I should, but
the old cars that used to come by
yeah.
ferry. And this is Father Curly-Do, who started the shrine. He was sent here to dig. Between him and myself, we've had a number of years. He was here about 10 years, and I've been here 33 years, so it's 43 years.
Yeah.
We hope we can reach 50. It would be nice. And see, this is the little chapel that he built that burnt, and this was the first little shrine. But the house we're in now was built then.
And we're in this room right here behind this door.
That's right.
And I'll bet that screen door is still up there because that's a real old screen door.
That's right.
We were looking at. And as we come around this corner, Father,
this was the shrine. See, this is what burnt down, and this is what we're in now. The building we're in now. See. And we still have, of course.
Oh, this was the building, but they made an extension.
That's
It wasn't always this big.
Right.
This is the building, and then they extended it.
That's right.
Okay.
And these are a lot of other artifacts and letters.
Right, letters and
correspondence, and
each one very important in itself. Another boat landing here at. Printed the same picture as that over there. And in the window here, in this table glass,
mostly literature, books that have been written about
Saint Anne of Alamont in Lake Champlain.
That's right, yeah.
History in French and English here, by the way.
That's right.
This is a French book.
That's right, yeah.
That's a French letter?
French letter, yeah. A lot of the correspondence was made in French.
Okay.
And so
you can buy some of these books right here at the,
that's right,
at the shrine.
This book is available.
Right.
Yeah,
this book is here, right here at the souvenir shop. Yeah. Well, I think that just about covers it, Father. Would you say?
God bless you.
Well, we're going to take a little longer than that. Say goodbye, though. You'll be here till October 15th.
15th, that's right.
And if you want to talk to this fine person after October 15th, that's not hard. He's just down the road, right there at St. Amadeus Rectory. Here in Alberg, and you can go to church in Alberg. What time are your masses in Alberg?
Alberg, we have 7:30 and 10:30. Saturday night, 7:30, 10:30 Sunday morning, and St. Joseph's 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock.
It's the same in the wintertime? It'll be the same masses too?
It's always the same, yeah.
Okay.
Right. And we have a lot of friends who come and they want to follow us through the winter, you know.
And any of you people watching this program, when you see Father, when you're over here or you're in any one of those other parishes, just tell him you saw him and tell him if you enjoyed him or not. Tell him to smile more. If he smiled, it would have been even a better program. Look at that smile in this man right here. I'm not even looking and I can tell he's smiling. And it's been a pleasure for Hometown Cable. Calvin Castine on the camera. Bob Venn with what's going on here on this Sunday program every Sunday at 1 o'clock, 4:30, 8 p.m., midnight, and 8 the following morning. And one reason why I like doing this is to meet fine people like this. I wouldn't have had the opportunity. I would come here and I'd talk to him for a minute or two, but I really found a nice friend here at Isle of Mont. Calvin told me I would like you.
Thank you very much, Calvin. Thank you both, and God bless you for coming.
You're very welcome.
Do come back and see us.
I will do that, I'm sure.
Peace and love.
Right. Come over, and if you're not already, we know you're Catholic, most of you. If you're not, if you're Catholic or non-Catholic, become a patron of Hometown Cable. Keep this kind of program coming to you every day, 5 times a day. Tune in next Sunday. We'll have something new for you.
Finally, as all around us the foliage peaks and the change of seasons marches on, it is comforting to know that the church serves uninterrupted. Bob Chadbourne joins me now to bring us a beautifully visual story from far up in Vermont, a place where he and videographer Joe Feidenkevitz traveled recently to record the little mission of St. Anne Shrine as it marked an impressive milestone. Bob?
Thanks, Anna. It was a visual drive. We went from the southeastern corner up to the northwestern tip of Vermont, and I don't have to tell you what that looks like in mid-October when you drive. But we found the richness of St. Anne's Shrine and the still beauty of the Champlain Islands and the joyful gathering of Americans and Canadians were no less colorful a story. It is dawn, and Lake Champlain surrenders its wispy shroud of mist to greet an important day at that little jut of America where to turn one way is to be in Canada, the other in New York, while the frailest bit of buffer clings to our map by a little bridge that guides us to Isle Lamont and St. Anne's Shrine on its final 1992 day of service, the 100th year it has served. From across these waters came Captain Pierre Lamont in 1666. These shores were to become Vermont's first white settlement, not permanent in itself, but permanent in the resolve that this rugged area should be settled. The Jesuits followed. The first Mass was said here, quickly followed by the first little chapel. The procession that marks a century begins as the Edmundite Fathers, founded in France in 1843, teachers at St. Michael's College in Vermont, active in Mystic, Connecticut, Selma, Alabama, in Louisiana, Venezuela, and England, have made this shrine their project, assuring that those who come here leave uplifted both by the setting and the service.
They come here to find it's a center of life, of love, and of light, and they leave and they tell us how refreshed they are, and they have touched God's feelings, and they have also touched Jesus and touched the Holy Spirit. This morning, it's nice to see so many here.
Not surprisingly, the homily at this Mass that records 100 years of Masses dealt with gratitude. The story of the 10 lepers, reference to what we now call stewardship, disdain for those who boast of accomplishments, and a reminder that we are nothing of ourselves. Had God not placed us and given us health and opportunity, we would accomplish little. St. Anne's welcomes visitors in so they may be reminded of such things through a very serious effort at hospitality.
Good St. Anne, as you know, is the patron saint of hospitality. I just learned that this summer at St. Anne de Beaupré. We went for a visit there for a day, and I happened to see a little video about St. Anne, and I learned that she was the patron saint of hospitality. And this is what we try to portray here at the St. Anne Shrine.
There are always many Canadians among the nearly 70,000 who visit and worship each season. A great many today, Canadian Thanksgiving. Not exactly like our own, more a day to have family together.
Well, I think here you are with the family. You are more closely, with the family on this day. You got a particular dinner or supper, lunch, all together.
Sadly, St. Anne's 100 years have not been recorded as well as they might have been. Many artifacts are missing, some that remain are not well documented. But a room has been set aside for photos and memorabilia, and there are items of significance, and an artifacts case is being prepared.
We have pottery, arrowhead, and a scraper from between 800 and 1000 AD. We have a strap handle here from a jar. This would be when the French had the fort here. They built in 1666. This is from a boat that was built in 1808 and sunk in the Richelieu River just north of here. These are flags that had to do with the 300th anniversary of the founding of Lake Champlain. And in the same time period, this would have been a cup off of one of the pilgrimage boats to the shrine around the turn of the century.
A treasure of this century is the breathtaking statue of Our Lady of Lourdes, placed atop the bell tower of Burlington's Cathedral of Immaculate Conception in 1904, recovered from a devastating fire in 1972, now here, after 19 years in a warehouse, a request of Father Boucher to our Bishop John Marshall, then Bishop of the Diocese of Burlington.
Recently that was restored and set on a high pedestal and placed there against a background of a hill with beautiful lawn and trees behind that, and the blue sky and clouds and so forth. It's just a wonderful setting.
This day that concludes 100 seasons of St. Anne ends with a harvest dinner, and Americans and Canadians enjoy it. Was the turkey, the stuffing, the pumpkin pie an American Thanksgiving, giving thanks for the harvest that held our early settlers together? Or a Canadian Thanksgiving in respect for the reminder of the importance of a family together? The answer? What does it matter? What matters is nature is sending a message, painting a picture really, that says this year is over, and it was the 100th. I'm Bob Chadbourne for Reel to Reel.
And on that beautiful note, we close out another edition of Reel to Reel.
Be with us again next week for these stories. Our New England correspondent, Rena Frazier, will join us with the story of 40 years of faith shared at the Carmelite Retreat Center in Williamstown.
And Mike Bodo will speak with the local creators of a 1993 religious art calendar, which features the artistic interpretations and works of some distinguished African-American artists.
So join Ann and me along with the entire staff of reporters again next week at the same time for another faith-filled and inspiring edition of Reel to Reel.
We leave you now with some final scenes from Vermont, along with the sounds of the Turfmen.
We'll see you next time.